Based on the current maps that we have developed, we're gonna go over some basic winning losing scripts. Sociosexual loser script that I see that's pretty common today is everything I like is illegal, immoral, or fattening. Love and do without will. So you see if you can just flip that around from one to the other, that you can be just like Charlie Sheen winning. That's the third circuit. Now we're gonna jump to circuit 8. Neuroatomic loser script. I'm not psychic, and I doubt that anyone is. Winning script. In the province of the mind, what is believed true is true, or becomes true within limits to be learned by experience and experiment. Okay, what does that mean? In the province of the mind, what one believes to be true is true or becomes true within certain limits to be found experimentally and experientially. These limits are further beliefs to be transcended. In the mind, there are no limits. In the province of connected minds, what the network believes to be true either is true or becomes true within certain limits to be found experientially and experimentally. These limits are further beliefs to be transcended. In the network's mind, there are no limits. Now, I'm going to regress a little and pretty much point out that while existing in a body, there are limits. Now, just a couple ideas today that, well, we're all working with the same basic computer that has come up with all the great ideas that you know. The same computer as everyone else, and everything that has come before in mankind, working with the same biocomputer. Okay, so what's this big gap that we get between people? Well, there's winners and there's losing scripts. Now, I can go back to that and talk about it, but I think you should look it up on your own. It's the 8 Basic Winning Losing Scripts by Robert Anton Wilson. But I'm sort of exploring right now the idea of precognition. Just jumping to a little bit about myself today, and how from the moment you get out of bed in the morning, you've already created a program for your day, and how the day you're experiencing today very well may be the same day that you experienced when you were 8 years old. So I'm over 5 minutes already. I'm going to continue talking past 5 minutes because I feel that there's more that I need to get out. Can't get away from this idea of synchromysticism. Now, my head has been pretty mystical for a while now. And I used to think it was pretty common that people would share their mystical experiences and maybe try and elaborate on some of the points of the mystic idea. But more and more I'm coming to the realization that any mystical experiences that one might experience is more common than not that they just keep it to themselves and don't talk about it. Now, the reason for that probably is that while the mystical experience is definitely a cornerstone of my experience, that a mystical experience alone isn't enough to be a catalyst to create a religious life. And okay, well, back to the notion of synchromysticism. Something that I haven't been able to get away from, and therefore I want to address it, is everyone's different interpretation of synchromysticism being one that basically addresses the point that I think a lot of people come to eventually, that they think that at some time in the future that everything is just going to gel and that there'll be some sort of end. Well, I hate to point it out, but even after you're gone, after you are finished with whatever your purpose is here, that it will all continue on. Without you, no matter how important you might feel, which leads me into today. The exploration of what constitutes a private thought and how important is transparency. I think that each person is entitled to private thoughts. Now, entitlement by itself in the political schema, entitlement to in regards to handouts, right? That's the idea of entitlement that we get. But I'm speaking of entitlement in terms of birthright, human birthright. And one of those birthrights is your private thoughts, because as far as I'm concerned, it's the thing that connects us all together and what makes us most human, because a private thought is more precious than free will or rising above old conceptions, breaking molds. It's well, I guess it's up to you to decide what your most private thoughts are, but I just want to let everyone know that what you choose to make your private thought shouldn't be based on guilt. It should be based on what you deem most precious to yourself, that you want to have as your own. So I regressed a little bit back to probably, well, I dealt with some semantic issues. And I touched on metaprogramming, circuits 3 and 6. And circuit 6 is the one that I've been dealing with primarily lately. And also the skeptic in me usually is circuit 5. But the quote that I had, again, circuit 8, neuroatomic, and the Crowley and 9393.